Anne from Game Like a Mother. I specialize in games that can be played in 20 minutes or less, and today I want to talk about what I consider to be a bit of a hidden gem of a social board game. It sort of reminds me of Just One, which I feel like is the go-to gamer choice for a social game when you want to have something that is just really quick, easy. Everybody can have a good time playing it, whether they've played a lot of games or not very many, but you, as a person who plays a lot of board games, still can enjoy yourself and feel like you're having a good, fun, strategic time while you're playing. If you aren't familiar with Just One, it is a very easy co-op social game in which the person who is having to guess on a round, they hold up a card in front of them that has a number of words on it. They can't see any of the words. They pick a number that corresponds to one of the words, and then everybody else has to write down just one word on their little clue card. And then they first reveal it to each other, see if there are any duplicate words. If they are, you can't use those words, and whatever's left, the guesser gets to look at and try to figure out what the clue was. Well, the game that we really enjoy and we have been playing for the past 2 years or so and just seems to get better upon repeat is Less is More. And first of all, I know that the box is bad. The box does not look attractive. It does not look like a great game. Second of all, yes, this is a Spin Master game, which again, they seem to focus more on just very light, easy family games, and you don't necessarily expect to find a social game that's going to be a hit with your board game group from them. But this has been with ours. The premise of the game is it's not cooperative. It is a competitive game, but like Just One, the person who's supposed to be guessing on a turn, they hold up a card away from them and there's a certain number of words. You pick one of the words and then everybody else has to write down clues to help them guess that word. But you are trying to write down the least number of letters possible to give them that clue. You do not have to write down whole words. You end up taking out a lot of vowels, and you're trying to make it as concise as possible, because when it's time for them to guess, they go by whoever had the least letters written down to the most. So if I had picked the word on a card and I didn't know what it was, and it was penguin, or if you're Benedict Cumberbatch, penguin, it's real, he does say it like that, you can look it up. People would all write down their clues, and then at the same time, they would reveal the backs of their cards, which just says the number on it. And so then you know, oh, whoever wrote down the smaller number, so the number 8, they would get to give their clue first. They'd reveal their clue, and it looks something like this. And you can't interpret this for the person. They have to try to, and sometimes it is a bit of a jumble. It can be very clear to you in your head, but for the person who's guessing, you could say, is that board, fifth, south? Well, you can't do numbers. So is it south? You don't know what it is necessarily. So if they did this and they just didn't really know, then it would move on to, they do a wrong guess, goes on to the next player. They still have the first clue available to them, and the next person might have this. They had written down 9, and it's black, white, bird is what they're trying to give. So maybe between the two, they're able to kind of decipher it, and then they guess, oh, penguin, you were saying South Pole, I got it now. And then both the person who gave the clue, that was the one that they guessed the right word on, and the person who guessed correctly, the guesser, get a certain number of points for that round. So that's it. That's the game, but it's really interesting. You play a round or two with people and instantly they realize, oh, this trying to cut things short and have a really good clue that's short matters a lot, or sometimes my clue won't even come into play. Even if I have a great clue, if it's too many letters, they won't even see it. So there's a nice tension there, and then because you are trying to get it down so much, it can be very funny what the way people go with it sometimes, because they say, oh, they take it a completely different way. You didn't even realize the word could be interpreted that way. And then sometimes you don't realize how difficult it is to describe something very concisely. We had a game where it was icon, and is that button on your computer, or is that David Bowie? And how do you describe that? Very short. And I think I gave up and I basically wrote down like a dictionary definition, and that's what won it for that round because it was really tricky otherwise. This also can work really well for kids as long as you make sure the vocab is something that they know. Although we played this with my 8-year-old son and found out that he did not know what sushi was, even though I have fed him sushi in a quest to give my children culture. But apparently he didn't know that seaweed and raw fish were involved. So, oopsie there. But the game just works well. It's one that when we show it to people, they want to run around out and get it. And on that note, one of the best things about this game is it is incredibly cheap. If you look for it online, it is at a very excellent price point, and that is perhaps the best thing of all. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can check out more of my content on my YouTube channel and on my website, and back to the folks in the studio.